Hello everybody, welcome back to our Skindeep sessions. We've got a really exciting session for you today with Christine. But firstly, just in case you haven't seen any of our sessions before, I'll just introduce us. So this is Zoe. Zoe is a senior therapist here. I'm Vanessa, the co-founder of Skindeep, and this is the lovely Christine. Christine, what would you say your title is?
Well, it's difficult to say because I do so many different things. I'm not just one thing. So I'm qualified as an allergy and environmental therapist first and foremost, and also I'm a qualified chiropractor as well.
Amazing.
And also I'm qualified in bowing technique, reflexology, and therapeutic massage.
You're a lady of many talents.
Yeah, cover quite a lot of sort of ground there, didn't we?
Excellent.
Over many years. So my background is in nursing. I am a qualified nurse, and during COVID I went back because I was registering again for a short time, and I worked during COVID. But obviously now I've moved on to use alternative medicine instead.
Of course. Okay, so you said, to start off with, first and foremost, you were sort of the allergy testing.
That was the first thing.
Okay,
yes.
so you do a lot of that.
Yes, going back about 30 years. The clinic itself was started by my parents. So my father was a chemist, and he developed this system of allergy testing using kinesiology and treating what he found with homeopathy. So that was about 40 years ago.
Wow.
I joined them in 1995.
Amazing. Fantastic.
We worked together, my mother, my father and myself. And I've continued and taken it forward now, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Tried to bring it up into the next century, so to speak.
Yeah, of course. And am I right in saying that you actually, so when you allergy test people and you find that they've got allergies with certain things, you actually make your own homeopathic remedies for them?
We do. We've got our own homeopathic pharmacy. And the remedies are made to order. They're custom made for each individual person. So say that you were to come to us and you had some issues where you felt you might be allergic or sensitive to something. Obviously we take a full case history. We find out what has happened up to that point. Have you seen the doctor? What's been done for you until now? And then we have a little discussion about what we're going to do. We use a very simple technique using kinesiology, a muscle testing technique. And then we ask the body, when we test the body, we put different substances on, and we test each one individually. We've got a lot of samples to test you with: bacteria, viruses, environmental toxins, and we test each one individually. And we work out the body's response to each one as we test, and eventually we build up a picture of what's actually going on in the body. We might just find one thing, or we might find a number of things.
Is it quite common to find a number of things in people?
It can
this day
be.
and age?
If somebody's immune system is severely compromised and they've been ill for a long time, they are pretty low, and we have to do it a little bit at a time. So what we will do, we'll pick out the things that keep recurring when we test. So we might go back and test it again and just see if it comes up again, and eventually we choose the one which you are reacting to the strongest, and we will come up with a little plan about how we're going to treat that. And we treat it with homeopathy. So
for those who are not sure now, so when you say kinesiology, that's how you do it.
Yes.
Can you explain a little bit of that process so people can understand exactly how you do this testing?
Yes. So the system we use was originally developed by a chiropractor, and he used it originally to test the different muscle strengths in the body in response to the adjustments that he made. And over time he found out that if people were unwell, if he did adjustments and tested again, it didn't just improve the spine, it also improved their physical health, because the nervous system extends from the spine, and when you correct those positions of the joints, it takes the pressure off the nervous system, and it allows the nervous system to communicate with the body better, and start to trigger off their own natural healing mechanisms.
So when you're putting sort of samples onto people then of things that they could be allergic to, whereabouts on the body, what muscles are you working with? Whereabouts are you placing these?
Well, we can test any muscle in the body, but we would put the substances on the navel area, and that is, as you know, connected to your mother by the umbilical cord when you're a baby. So it's a very sensitive area. It's on what we call a meridian line, which you might have heard of if you've been for acupuncture. There are lots of these energy lines in the body. They're areas of electrical resistance, and they're very sensitive to changes in the environment. So when we put that substance onto your body, there'll be a change in the whole of your energy system. Sometimes we test something and we get a positive result. But we're not looking for positives, we're looking for things that are making you feel worse, not things that are making you feel better, but we do comment on those. So for instance, if I were to test somebody for oatmeal and they had a very positive response, I'd feel a strengthening then of the energy system.
Wow.
And so it's not all negative. You know, you can get a lot of information from the body that way.
So once you put this substance, I'm intrigued now, so you put this substance onto their,
Yes.
by their belly button. So what are you testing? Arm strength, leg strength? Where are you checking? How do you find out then that they're either weaker or stronger in that?
We test the deltoid muscle for convenience. Obviously that's the simplest and easiest, most accessible place is just to test the deltoid muscle using your arm. But if somebody has some problems, issues with their arms, we can test any muscle in the body. We can use the leg. So we just work out with the client which is the best place to test with.
Excellent. So then, okay. So we've tested so many substances. It must be really hard actually to know where do we even start. Yeah. If somebody comes in and they haven't got an absolute clue. I mean, sometimes people know or they think they know if they've got an intolerance or an allergy. But yeah, if they come in blind, wow, where do you even start? Or do you have to just keep going and going until you find? Or?
It's in the beginning it's not easy because obviously, like you say, sometimes if somebody's severely weakened, when we start to test, every single thing comes up. But the strange thing is, as you're testing, the body starts to respond. So sometimes we have to go through it again if that happens, and just start again. There are little things like being dehydrated we might have to correct to get a good response from the body. If someone comes in and they're dehydrated, we give them a drink of water and make sure that they're not, everything's working properly first. So then when we're testing, you can feel the subtle changes as somebody holds their arm against their side, and we just gently, very gently, just move the arm, and their job is to resist and put up a little bit of resistance there. When we feel that drop away, we know that whatever the substance that's on them is a real problem. So we will just test again to make sure, and then obviously we would write that down and discuss it with the client afterwards.
Wow. Yeah. So when you've gathered up all your evidence and you've come to a conclusion of the things, the intolerances, the allergies, how does that work? How does that then move from that room there with me, for instance, and then goes into the lab to make up the remedy?
Right. So then what we do is we pick out, we have a discussion. There are some things that come up which, when you speak to the client, they say it might be shellfish. They say, "Oh my God, I never touch shellfish ever, because they really don't agree with me." Or there might be something that they're eating every single day and it's really hard to avoid. Those are the things that we target first. And quite often, if we get that little group of foods which they're eating very, very regularly, and target those first, if it's a food, for example, then we can give just a small number of remedies just to correct that, and then when they come back we retest again.
So when they're correcting it with the remedy that you've given them, do they need to avoid these foods in that time, or do they just carry on? Yeah, so avoid them.
Yeah, when we're giving the remedy, we give a homeopathic potency of what, for instance, if it's a food, it's a homeopathic potency of that food. So it's important then for that week while they're taking the remedy that they totally avoid that food while they take the drops, for the remedy has that ingredient in it. So for instance, if you were sensitive to wheat, we would put you on the drops for a week. There'd be a homeopathic potency of wheat, which means that there's a tiny little amount of wheat in the drops, so small that your body can tolerate it. And so your body now is learning how to tolerate that wheat and not react strongly to it like it was before. So you go off the main wheat, you just take these little drops, and then at the end of the week you go back onto the wheat again, but you only take less wheat. You take less wheat than you had before. Yeah.
So is it just, do they just come in drops forms? Like, because you said with the food you take the drops.
Yes.
If it was something else, are they still drops, or is it something they need to drink or anything like that?
No, it's always homeopathic drops. Sometimes people have a preference for pilules, and we can make the medicines into pilules if they would rather take pilules.
Yeah.
But usually drops are more convenient and much easier to take.
Yeah, definitely.
The only thing we do recommend is that they avoid anything in the mouth apart from the drops for half an hour before and after taking the drops. It takes about that long to be absorbed in the mucous membranes. After that, it's gone into the body. It doesn't go through the digestive system, it's absorbed through the mucous membranes into the body and works at cell level and ultimately at the energetic level. And it helps the body to rebalance and adjust its responses to that particular substance, whatever it is. If we find a virus or a fungus or a bacteria has affected the client at some time or is still affecting them, we treat it in the same way. The only difference is this time they don't have to avoid anything. We just give the drops, that's all.
Well, and that was going to be my next question actually. So you obviously treat allergies from food and things like that, but what about if somebody's had viruses and that, how does that work? How do you work out if there's a virus, what am I going to say, like hibernating then in the body still, because sometimes we don't get rid of them, do we?
That's correct. I mean, what happens usually is somebody arrives with mysterious symptoms. They've been through, usually most people have been through the medical profession. It's very, very rare that we get anybody coming to us who haven't already been through the medical system for a long, long time, trying to find solutions, and they are quite low physically sometimes. If they have a viral or a bacterial situation going on in their bodies, it's not been detected in the normal testings, and when we pick them up, we discuss with the client what we found. I've had instances, for example, where I've tested someone and glandular fevers come up, and that person will then say to me, oh, I had that when I was a teenager, I was so ill, and could that possibly be affecting me now after all these years? And yes, it can, because at that point it's lowered the person's immunity, and it takes quite a long time to overcome it, and for some people it doesn't absolutely overcome it. So any kind of test wouldn't show it up. Yeah, and so they go to the doctor and say, no, there's nothing there, we've tested you, all your bloods are clear, everything's perfect. Well, then why do I feel so ill?
Yeah, of course.
And it's because it's gone into the energetic system and it's affecting the body at the energetic level. So you've no longer got the active virus working in your physical body. What you've got in your energetic system is a lowering of it, and the energetic system still responding to the energetic pattern of the virus that's existing in the body at that level. And it's undetectable by normal testing methods.
Yeah. So how do you test for something like that then? How do you discover it?
We use our kinesiology testing. That is essentially testing the energy that supplies the muscle, which is supplied by your body's own energetic system. So say it's working perfectly, you know, you have energy in your muscles. It's not just a matter of being able to feed your muscles with glucose and all the nutrients you need to make the muscle contract, or even the nervous system by itself. It's also to do with all the energy in your system driving all your bodily processes. And we've got enough energy in our body to run a light bulb, apparently.
Oh, wow.
So it's electrical energy. And if that's low, as you imagine if your battery's running out, that's exactly what it's like. Your body's energy system is dealing with something.
It's like the light bulb's going dimmer.
Yeah, using more and more of your energy to deal with it, until in the end the energy is getting lower and lower and nothing's happening to reverse it. And what you want to do is change that pattern by treating the energetic system for the problem that started it in the first place, so that it can gradually move on, start to rebuild that energy back up again.
Wow. And so another question now then, you know, post-COVID then, so a lot of people had what we know as long COVID. Have you seen any people like that coming through the clinic, and have you been able to help them and support them?
Yes, that was difficult because, as you're probably aware, there was a lot of controversy around treating COVID with any kind of alternative medicine. You know, the general view was go and get your vaccines, go in and treat yourself with the normal cold remedies, or go to your doctor and so on. And so we ended up getting some very distressed calls saying, look, I'm really suffering, and you know, everything I've had isn't working. Is there anything you can offer us? Well, of course, we had the problem of that we weren't really allowed to treat it, you know.
Wow.
So we wanted to,
yeah, of course,
but because there was so much controversy surrounding homeopathic remedies to treat COVID-19, you know, that would have been very difficult for us. But since then, what we've done, anybody who suffered from ill effects of COVID, they've come and seen one of our therapists. So that would be myself or Mena Stevens, who is also qualified and with us. And we do a general test for everything, and that does include testing for COVID-19 and the new variants and the vaccines and the AstraZeneca, the Pfizer, whatever they've had. And we just come up with what we find. We don't judge it, we just look at it and say, this is what we found. Are you happy for us to treat you with homeopathy for this? And this is between us and the clients.
Yeah, of course.
And so the remedies are made in response to the test.
Yeah.
And
have you had some good response from treatment for that?
Yes.
Because I ask because I do know, you know, I've spoken to people myself through my work, and they suffer with long COVID. So I think it would be something people would be interested to hear.
Yes. We've had very good responses, and we also train allergy and environmental therapists. We have a qualified teacher in Monmouth who teaches our therapists. So what happens there is we get calls from our therapists saying, have you got anything for my clients who are suffering from long COVID? And what we do is we take a little bit of a case history there, and with the consultation with the therapist and what the client has asked for, and from there we decide how to advise our therapists, and our therapists go on and test their clients then, and in the same way as we do, and find out what it is that's really causing the problem. Because there are people, for example, who would say, yes, I've got long COVID, but if they came to see us, we may find that they have an underlying problem, glandular fever or streptococcal overgrowth. And so it can be a bit more complex than just COVID-19 full stop.
So you would check all of these?
Yes.
You did quite deep then to
we
try
wouldn't
to
just say, oh, we'll give you a COVID-19 remedy. No, because then we might just miss the mark. The important thing is to get someone in to see us, go through everything, see what else is going on, and see whether it wasn't just the COVID-19 was the last straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, of course. You get to the root of the problem
Yes,
then.
that's right. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's really good. So, as an average then, how many appointments would somebody need with yourself?
Speaking for myself personally, the majority of people have one consultation with us. I will take a comprehensive case history, including all the medical history from before. We'll do the test, we'll come up with what we found, we'll discuss a treatment plan, we'll work out a regime for them, and I always say to anybody who comes to see us, please come back if you wish to repeat any of the tests. Most people don't need to come back. Some people come back out of curiosity.
Yeah, of course.
Some people, I might not see them for 3 or 4 years, and then they'll say, look, I was doing fine, but then all of a sudden something happened, and I have to say, life stresses can get in the way.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
oh, I went through a divorce and I was fine till then. I was doing really well, and now this, and I don't know anything else is then, because stress has a huge effect on the body's health.
So when they come to you on their first appointment then, you've done your consultation, you've done all your testings, do they take the remedy home then that day, or do they come back for that, or how do they get their product?
So I would write out the prescription instructions. So we put the order in, and then the remedies are made in our pharmacy specifically for that person, and then we send them out, or they can be collected. So we'll either post them or they can be collected, and then just follow the instructions on the paper. Sometimes there's a bit of dietary advice. It's more to do with what to avoid than anything else, because I'm not a nutritionist, but we do have a nutritionist on board with us. So if we have any problems, we can ask her, and that's Howard Williams.
Wow. So how many are you? So it's important to say that you're based in Ffynonwen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how many are in your team?
Altogether in Ffynonwen at the moment, we've got Menna Stevens, who also is an allergy and environmental therapist, and we've got Howard Williams, who's a nutritionist, and we've got Adam, who is an osteopath, and we have Rhys, who's just joined us, and he's qualified in sports massage.
Oh, nice. There's quite a few of you down there then. That's really nice. And that's good, because you can refer to the appropriate people then.
That's correct, yes. And my mother's still alive, she's 93. She's a homeopath and a herbalist.
And is she still working?
100% switched
on. Wow, I admire her.
Yeah, she offered to come back, especially just after COVID.
Really?
And I said, Mum, no,
Yeah, please rest.
Yes, but she's very knowledgeable.
Wow,
yes,
gosh, that's lovely. And they must be such a proud thing. It's a family business, isn't it?
Yes.
And to think you've taken that on. Wow, yeah, lovely.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really, really interesting. And that's answered a lot of questions I've got, and I know a lot of questions that some of my clients have asked me. So that's really good. So what we would do is, if anybody wants any more information, then we will put the links for Christine and for her business underneath in the bio, and please feel free to get in touch with her. And I think what we'll do is, perhaps in a few months' time, we'll do a catch-up session on this, because I think there'll be a lot more questions coming forward, and we can kind of collate all those questions and come back to you and have another chat, if that's okay with you.
Yes, thank you. Well, it's been lovely talking to you, Vanessa.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Thank you for bearing with me, because I am not used to this.
Not at all. I mean,
directly to clients.
Knowledge is so valuable.
Yeah.
It's
and I would say, like, just listening to you, I'm like, I just want to come and just know what I could be like.
Yeah.
What could pop up in my test. Like, even if there's nothing wrong, I'm just like, I'm curious to know what could pop up.
But I think in this day and age, though, there is so many more allergies out there, and people have so many more inflammation illnesses and things that, like you've said, they've been around the medical system and they can't get any answers. And that's really disheartening, isn't it? When you think, oh, is that it? Nobody can help me. But that's where you come in, and it's like, yes, everybody needs to get to see you.
Oh, I could give you so many examples. But because of client confidentiality, I really don't want to discuss in detail.
No, absolutely get that.
But all I can say is every single person is different.
Yeah.
There is no one size fits all treatment for an ailment, because two people might have eczema and the two causes might be completely different. So people will say, oh, what's a good remedy for eczema? I'm sorry.
You see that all the time, don't you?
Remedy.
Well, we were just talking before you came in, because I came to see you years ago, wasn't it, when I was still in primary school, because my eczema got really bad at one point, and I remember you telling me, one stuck in my head. I said to you earlier, you said something about dust, and you were like, no vacuuming, and I was like, oh, perfect.
And she's never vacuumed since.
That's a lie.
I know, but no, I think on a whole, I think, you know, if you are feeling like you're getting nowhere, and you are, you know, you're not feeling 100%, or you're just curious, I think, you know,
Get in
drop
touch.
you a message, and let's all go visit Christine and share notes.
Amazing. Well, thank you for joining us again this week. Again, if you have any questions, pop them in the comment section below, or obviously contact Christine directly and ask questions there. Amazing. Well, thank you very much for coming, Christine.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you all next week.
Bye.